My name is Farhad, and what I'm about to tell you is something I kept to myself for nearly 30 years. I only spoke about it once, in 2004, and even then, I could barely get the words out. People in Iran say there are roads that don't belong to humans after midnight. Back in the 1970s, I didn't believe in Jinn. I didn't believe in anything I couldn't touch or see. All of that changed during one night on the old desert road between Yazd and Tabas. It was supposed to be a simple delivery, just me and my cousin, Dawood, hauling engine parts to Tabas. We left Yazd late in the afternoon, expecting to arrive before midnight, but the desert had other plans. Around sunset, the wind began to change. I could taste the dust before I even saw it. Within minutes, a sandstorm slammed into us, louder, heavier, more violent than anything I'd ever seen. The sand hit our windshield like bullets. The truck shook so hard I thought the cargo might break loose. "Farhad, pull over," Dawood yelled. "We're not going to survive if you keep driving." I slowed down, trying to see through the wall of sand. That's when Dawood grabbed my shoulder and pointed. Through the storm, we saw it. A dark shape half buried in the sand. An old caravanserai. One of those ancient stone inns where travelers stayed centuries ago. "We can shelter there," Dawood said. "My father used to stop here, but he warned me never to stay until morning." I tried to laugh. "What does that mean?" But he didn't answer. He was staring at the place with a strange look, fear mixed with recognition. We had no other choice. I parked the truck beside the broken wall and we went inside. The storm howled behind us as the heavy stone doors creaked open. Inside, everything smelled like dust and old stone. We lit a small gas lantern, and the flickering light stretched across cracked walls and collapsed archways. It should have felt like shelter, but from the moment we stepped inside, something felt wrong. The air was heavy, thick, like we weren't alone. Part 2. The first signs. Dawood tried to sleep near the wall, but I couldn't relax. The wind outside screamed like a dying animal, but inside, there was another sound beneath it. A softer sound, a rhythm, footsteps. At first, I thought they were inside the caravanserai. Then I realized, with a sinking feeling, they were outside, circling the walls. Fast footsteps, running. I stood silently, holding the lantern, listening. At one point, it sounded like someone sprinting right past the entrance. I opened the door a little, lantern trembling in my hand. "Hello?" I called. The footsteps stopped instantly. The desert went silent, like someone muted the world. I shut the door quickly, locking it even though the lock barely worked. As I turned away, something whispered behind me. Close. Too close. Farhad. My name, right behind my left ear. I spun around so fast the lantern almost fell. No one. Dawood was still asleep, breathing slowly. I stood frozen, telling myself it was the storm, the wind, exhaustion. But wind doesn't whisper names. I tried to calm down, walking into the open courtyard for fresh air. Moonlight pushed through the clouds, giving the place a pale silver glow. Sand drifted across the ground like moving fog. And then, I saw it. A tall figure standing in the far left corner of the courtyard. Thin, perfectly still. Human, but not human. I raised the lantern, and the light reached the figure. It moved, not step by step, not walking, not running. It simply shifted, appearing closer each time the lantern flickered. Far wall, then near the middle, then 5 meters away. My knees almost gave out. I staggered backwards into the hall and slammed the wooden door shut. Davud woke to the noise. "What happened?" "There's someone outside," I whispered. "Someone. Something." Davud didn't laugh. He didn't even look surprised. "My father told me this place was cursed," he said quietly. "He said there was a room here, a prayer room, that travelers avoided. They said Jinn gathered there at night." My heart dropped. We found the room at the end of the right corridor. The door was half open, and a faint silver glow shone from inside. As we approached, the air grew colder, not desert cold, something unnatural. I raised the lantern. The glow vanished instantly. The room went pitch black. Then a sound came from inside. Breathing. Slow. Deep. Wet. Not human. Davud grabbed my arm hard. "We're leaving. Right. Now." He didn't have to tell me twice. We sprinted back to the main hall, grabbed our bags, and ran for the truck. Part 3. The woman at the window. The storm outside had calmed slightly, but visibility was still terrible. I jumped in the driver's seat, Davud in the passenger seat. I turned the key. Nothing. Again, nothing. Then the wind outside changed, becoming something else. Not howling, whispering. Dozens of voices whispering around the caravanserai, circling it, just like the footsteps. Then someone knocked on the truck window. 3 slow, even knocks. Davud's breathing stopped. "Farhad," he whispered, "don't look." I wish I hadn't, but I did. A woman stood outside the window. Her hair was dripping wet, hanging like seaweed. Her skin was pale, almost blue. Her eyes huge, glassy, unblinking. She looked like someone who had drowned years ago, and then walked out of the desert. Her lips moved silently at first. Then she spoke, in Davud's exact voice. "Open the door." Davud choked out, "Don't you dare, Farhad!" My hands were shaking so badly I could barely breathe. The woman pressed her face against the glass. Her neck stretched unnaturally long. Her jaw bent sideways like a broken hinge. Her voice changed, layered, echoing, like multiple people speaking at once. "Open the door, Farhad. Open the door, Davud." I screamed and turned the key one more time. The engine roared to life. The woman jerked her head at a horrible angle, letting out a shriek that didn't sound human. I floored the gas. The truck leaped forward. Behind us, the caravanserai shook violently, like something huge slammed against it. And in the storm behind us, I saw her shape, drifting, gliding, moving faster than any human could run. She followed us for nearly 20 minutes. But then, just as suddenly as it began, the storm stopped. The wind died. The stars returned, and the road cleared. We didn't speak. We didn't even look at each other. We just drove. Part 4. The Marks. When we reached Tabas at sunrise, the mechanic looked at the truck with wide eyes. "What happened to you two?" Before I could answer, he walked to the passenger side and froze. I followed his eyes and saw them. 3 deep claw marks down the entire length of the truck. Metal torn like paper. I felt sick. Davud said nothing. His face was gray. We finished the delivery and left as fast as we could. Neither of us slept that night. Part 5. The Years After. I never drove the Yazd Tabas road again. Never went near that caravanserai. Never traveled at night, no matter what the job was. For years I tried to convince myself I imagined everything. The footsteps, the voice saying my name, the breathing in the prayer room, the woman's face at the window. But 2 nights after we returned home, at exactly 3:13 a.m., I woke up to a sound at my bedroom window. 3 knocks. Slow, even, exactly like the truck. I didn't move, didn't breathe. Then a whisper came from outside, soft, familiar. Farhad. I stayed frozen until sunrise. After that night, I never slept in darkness again. And I end my story the same way I began it. There are places in Iran where even the Jinn refuse to stay. If you ever find one, run before the sun goes down.